Oh, wow, it worked. Hey, hi. I've been trying to go live for a while and I don't know why it wouldn't start. It just kept spinning and I've got a gig here in my home. But hi, I'm Linda Kay Gifford and I am here for our lesson today in continuing with body memory. What it is, how hard it is to control. Um, so, what you do instead of controlling it. This is going to tie into relationships. This is going to tie into trigger management. This is going to tie into mental training. All things we've been talking about. But today's focus, we're going to dive in, take over where we left off yesterday, essentially, and dive a little bit deeper into what body memory is and how the brain works. I'm Linda Kay Gifford. I am the survivor of 7 years of childhood sexual abuse, and I am a life coach. I am the author of Self Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Abuse, which will be coming out soon, and excerpts are available on the Facebook page. They're not pinned right now, though. They got unpinned. I need to scroll down, find them again, repin them, or drop them in from a document. So at the moment, you can't grab my excerpts, but I am going to add them to the website, sweetsurvivor.com, which is now joined with my store. We are just now hitting our 4th anniversary online. Feelgoodfairtrade.com, selling women artisan products from all over the world. So happy birthday or anniversary, or whatever you look at it, to us both. And we welcome Sweet Survivor, which will be moving off into a store of its own under my charitable shopping platform that I have invented and am establishing, called the Earth 2.0 Fundraising Family of Shops. So exciting stuff. But let's dive right in, because these are shorter. These are shorter lessons. This is people I talk with. It seems like we like to talk a few times a week. We've kind of settled in on a Tuesday through Thursday schedule. And in fact, I'm taking appointments now for one-on-one counseling Tuesdays through Thursdays. And we're also going to be doing a Wednesday Zoom at 2:00 p.m. every Wednesday. It's going to be a Zoom if you want to get in a group participate. It'll be, on camera, survivors only, or support personnel, no trolls. We will heavily vet and shut down anybody that gives us no worries there. So, one more thing. I also started the subscription. We're still working out bugs we have to show the frequency, like how often do you want to donate? Do you want to donate weekly or monthly or once or yearly or, So those boxes, I'm having a developer custom design for me right now because it doesn't come with the program for the subscription on my site. But you can right now go on and purchase a monthly subscription. And by midnight, hopefully, certainly tomorrow, we will have the new code in place. I got most of it done today, but then I ran out of time, and I've got some help on it too. So there's that. We have talked so much about disassociation and how recently, last week especially, talked a lot about how we freeze, how there's the fight, flight, or freeze response when we are frightened, when we feel threatened. And without training, most people choose freeze first. Most animals also choose freeze first, deer in the headlights. This is why we give extensive training to the military and to the police and in self-defense to moi and whoever. 2 of my sons are provisional black belts in Taekwondo. And it's like not something that, like, one of them even wanted to take very much, but it was just the right thing to do, I believe, to be trained, because that freeze thing is what happens. So we talk about disassociation, and the flip side flip side of disassociation and what CPTSD sufferers like us deal with regularly is body memory. And the tough thing about body memory is that it's instantaneous. It's when it hits you, you haven't given it conscious thought. It's like the fear. That's why I'm going into it from what we've been talking about last week. It's like that fear and disassociation response. You're living it all over again. And when you have PTSD, for those who don't, who are support persons who just want to learn and are here, you feel, even though you can see the world around you often, you still have the feeling, a surreal sensation feeling that you're like in a movie inside the tangible world. You're back where you were at the time of the traumatic event that you're remembering. So you're in this, the best way I can describe it is feeling like I'm in a, like when they put a video over another one, and like I'm in this one that's the ghost video that's existing in the real space. That's PTSD. It's a very real ghost video of the original traumatic event. But it is a ghost video, and here's where we can learn, and here's what I want to teach you today. This is one of the most difficult things you'll ever have to learn, but you're going to need to do it regularly. It's, the more you do it, the less you have to. The more you get control on it, the less you seem to, at least myself and others that I work with, and I have a therapist I see an hour a week and probably will forever. I highly recommend therapy. And that's something else I want to talk about later. Note of that. Don't turn your lover, your significant other, into your therapist. Yes, expect understanding. Yes, share. But they don't need a play-by-play of everything that happened to you. What they need to know is what you need from them. And we will talk more about that in a minute. But so body, I'll get to that real quick though, since we're on it. So body memory, boom. It hits you. It is just like a trauma happening in the present tense. A PTSD body memory slam might as well be in the present tense, because that ghost image has just taken over all your world, your sensations, sight, smell, taste. And as I've said before, it likes to rear its ugly head at the most inopportune moments. For me, it used to be something that was regular in sexual experiences, and it's like a real turn on, I can tell you. And I don't want anybody to go through that if I can teach you to get a grip on it now, instead of just living in that space. So why? Why did I live in that space? Because I didn't know any better. And if you're living in that space, it's not that hard to get out of. Here's the deal. I'm going to back up. Body memories, slam, you're in that space. What do? Well, it's like that rabbit hole I talked about before. Now you can spiral in. Now you can take pills, you can do drugs, you can drink, you can do something stupid, you can have stupid sex, you can have good sex. That's actually probably not a terrible thing if you're doing it for the right reasons. But I'm saying, if there's something negative that you want to do to punish yourself, now's the time you're going to think about that, because you want to escape the body memory. You want out. So here's where you need to get a grip. Your mind wants to jump in there so fast, it doesn't want to think about it. And it's so easy in the moment of trauma and in the moment of a PTSD, especially a complex, meaning it happened to you over a long period of time. So it's really ingrained in you. This is why childhood survivors like myself, and perhaps you, have a particularly hard time with this stuff. It's just so much a part of you that literally your brain has grown less connections between the part of your mind that immediately registers things that are happening and the part of it that files them away in a chronological order with sequence and meaning that you can recall. And this is why trauma victims can seldom recall things in the correct order, which always counts against them in court. But it shouldn't, because it's just part of trauma. And it's not my word, that's scientifically dissected and proven. And now we can look in the brain and see how it's functioning. We can see a a lower number of connective pathways in those who experience long term disassociation. But that disassociation happened because of trauma. And the trauma, that body memory, that PTSD, that CPTSD trauma is the same thing. And you're going to overcome it the same way. You're going to step away from the rabbit hole. This is where mental training comes in. And I hate to tell you that I can't give you a pill. And if someone is giving you a pill, I suggest you talk to your doctor about maybe trying therapy to target what's really bothering you instead of blanketing all of your life's emotions and functions with a medication that just dulls things. But you're up off the floor, not so unsteady. Ready? Swallow the first one. Peter Mulvey, good song. What is that song? Maybe we're only as sick as our secrets, and maybe our secrets are all that we own. You could pump air into the belt job, in the end you will be in there alone. Words too small to say. Peter Mulvey, look it up. Good stuff. Great lyric. In fact, he's a member of the Genius Lyrics Club of respected writers. So, stepping away from the rabbit hole, it's mental training. And the way you do that is you have a community. Is you say, I am a survivor. You get it out. Don't bury that shit anymore. If you need to tell someone, tell them. If you're fine not telling someone, at least get it out of yourself. And here's what I call the home office. Now you're going to make a home mental file, the mental office of you. And in there, you're going to take all the stuff out of your heart, out of your soul, those shameful feelings that were laid down at the same time that you experienced violation, be it a violent violation or be it one where you were like me, groomed to where I still have to say that I experienced sexual sensations, and that's what's so confusing. I immediately identified guilt and shame with those. So then that carries into your adulthood. I tangent a little, but it's on the same path. That carries into adulthood. And it's not just me. I say it not to expose myself and the people that come on here and call me crazy. It's like, I'm not crazy, but yes, it's not a good thing. That's why I'm telling you that it happened to me, and it happens to a lot of people, statistically speaking. Again, not pulling it out of my proverbial ass. There are studies, and lots of them, on this kind of stuff. Oh my God, I just did a Trump thing. Oh my God. Okay. No, I look more like Stephen Colbert trying to do Trump. All right. So the shelf. Take consciously think. Don't stop. Don't not think about it. Think about it. Just for a little while. Get somewhere safe. Take a bath. Be alone. Have a glass of wine if you're not an alcoholic. I say don't take pills, but I'm all for a little seltzer, I have to say. And a little is the key, but you do you. You do you. Point is, relax and think about the fact that you have survived this and that it sucked and that you were a child. Even if you were a teenager, you are a child. If you were sexualized into it and groomed, you were a child. Get over it by taking that shame and throwing it off you. And that's the first step of the trigger guide. To make it easy, I came up with an acronym, SPADE. Well, I kind of figured it out from what I already had. Several live streams led into organizing this trigger guide, which is now going to be something that I'm just going to give to everybody that starts a $5 a month or more subscription to Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund, so that we can provide transportation to victims in crisis, because there's a real need for it, please. I will tell you how tomorrow, because I have a developer finishing the work on making the frequency options appear. It's technical Shopify stuff. But if you put it in this shelf in the open area where you can see it every day, the area of your mind that is no longer part of your heart, it's like, hey, I accept what happened to me, and I'm not going to be defined by it either. But I do have to deal with some things you, I, and I'm speaking as all of us, say to yourself, okay, I'm going to deal with some triggers. Here's how. Join the community. Join our Zooms on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. Wednesdays at 2 o'clock, join the Zoom. And we will talk all together in a group. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to say. We started to talk for a moment. I said I wanted to talk about not making your lover into your therapist. And there's a fine line between not telling, because I did that. I married 3 people and didn't tell them that I had been sexually abused for 7 years in my childhood. It's kind of an important thing to know, maybe, especially in the bedroom and stuff. But instead, what I did was tolerate things I didn't like and withdraw and disassociate also mentally at times, again, in my own shame and guilt, even the things I did like, because I already had ingrained in me so deeply that sexual feelings was shameful and bad. So that carried over into adulthood that I didn't know it. I hadn't taken it apart. So years of experience and therapy have, and other stories, really listening. Please do check out my playlist. I have survivor stories and empowerment videos. These are all videos that I have and continue to listen to. I think they are so important that I keep them on my playlist, because I actually play my playlists to myself regularly. That's what I work to, is my own playlists. There's a motivation one, an inspiration one, a Linda's in love one. Yeah, because I'm a geek and I'm in love. And you know what? That's another thing. That happened. I didn't expect that. I failed and failed and failed. And while I still think that the matches I made were not good ones, I blame myself for not looking for the right things and for only trying to be what somebody else wanted me to be. So, not putting that all on the people I marry. I'm just saying it's very wonderful that I can report to you something I couldn't say when I started these live streams. Initially, a couple years ago, when I started writing my book, I was deep in the point of, I don't want a relationship. I don't want anything serious. I'm good. I don't want the rug to come out from under me again. I'm happy. I'm super happy with my children and my life and all. And so to find myself in pretty way into a very good relationship with someone I totally trust, that I already knew 30 years ago. We already worked together 30 years ago. It gives me a new insight, and it also gives me things to share, like with the body memory part. Something I wanted to add, actually made a note to add, was if you feel those waves when you try to identify, if you're feeling squeamish, if you're in a physical relationship with somebody that you want to be in, that you think it's a good match, that treats you well, that you really care about, and you still are feeling sexually squeamish, if you have red flags, just get out. But if you want to be there but still feel off at times, that's when to develop like a code word. And we did that. I kind of, it was kind of like jokingly, but then one thing happened once, and I said it, and with no big to do, we like went around that hurdle. And then I discovered the craziest thing was by bringing it into the light, and this kind of goes into that file thing, by getting it out of your heart, by taking it out and saying, okay, I said the code word, I acknowledged that I don't like this it was foreplay, a kind of foreplay, because to me, that's what my abuser did to me. That's how it all started, was playing in my pants and with me as a young child, and also doing that and having me do things to him. And it was just like gross to me. So even though here I am with a partner I want to be with, but it feels great, but I'm like, gross is still coming all over me. And it's like, why? Well, in the past, I wouldn't have understood. I just would have gone with it. And somehow went into some disassociation world or whatever. But now I see what I'm doing. Now I go, oh. And by sharing that with somebody for the first time, and then actually having a little code word, and then saying it and acknowledging this is actually happening in the moment, and then seeing my partner's response, which was not horror or disgust, but just, nor treat me like a baby, just like, okay. And then I realized, actually, that feels really good. I like that. I'm like, wow, who knew? Right? So you open yourself up to a lot if you take this shit out from the inside and look at it, but you don't need to dwell on it. You need to put it away in that mental office file. And you look at it often enough to know I'm never going there again. No one's going to treat me like that. This bad thing that happened to me, I'm not going to let it happen again. Associating with these kind of people, not going to do it. Self-denigrating myself, that's another file. Put it on the open shelf, I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to look at them, but I'm not going to open them very often because I have a life to live. And that brings me to the D in spades, which is don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Just get out there and do shit, okay? If you're waiting to be normal, you are a normal sexual abuse. And we're going to stop calling it that. I keep doing that. It's sexual assault. I don't know what can be abuse that wasn't assault, unless it's verbal. But even that's verbal assault. Why do we call it sexual abuse when we were raped and raped and raped and raped and raped for years of our lives? That's assault. That's assault. Call it assault. In fact, I changed the name of my book from Self-Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Abuse to Self-Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Assault. Because that's what it is. So, that's a club no one wants to be in, but I'm putting that in that file. And I'm getting it outside of myself now. Okay? It's going on an open shelf in my mental home office. And I'm only going to use it when I need to consult it to write my book or to talk to someone that I'm coaching about my own experiences. But it's not going to live in my heart and my soul anymore. And that's what you need to do, is get it out of your insides. And your heart and soul will feel so light and free. So, on that, I'm just going to say the spades real quick. Okay, here's our steps. Every day, all day long, whenever you need to. Tell yourself the shame is not yours. You feel shame, it is not yours. Take it off you. Boom. That's out of the way. P, separate the past from the present. When you feel the past coming into your present, right? Whether it's trauma, whether PTSD, or whether it's actual trauma, you separate the past from the present. You say, hey, I am so-and-so. It's the year blah, blah, blah. It's the day blah, blah, blah. It's raining outside. I see a wall. Say things. Mundane things. Say what you see around you. Literally, it sounds to those that someone's like, oh, you're crazy. Well, they don't have PTSD and they don't understand. We're trying to get a grip on reality at that point. And a grip on reality has to be broken down to as simple as, I see a brick wall. I'm looking at the computer. It's 2021. My name is Linda Kay Gifford. You do these things, you separate the past from the present. The A in spades is ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. In the bedroom, in everywhere. Just like what I was talking about today, it's all about asking for what you want. Really, it's saying, okay, this makes me feel uncomfortable. I would like to not feel uncomfortable. Work it out. Be honest. Be honest. If you can't be honest, get a new lover. And the D, I already said, don't wait. Feel okay to be okay. You're in the club. Get out there. Do what you want to do. If you're busy, you don't have time to worry about what anybody thinks about you anyway. And you know what? If anybody thinks anything bad about you, screw them. Because then you go to the E, educate them and advocate for you and me and all of us and the future for every man, woman, and child. Not necessarily in that order, but you know what I mean. The last one I call spirit. Everybody from every religion, every walk, you're welcome to your religion. You are welcome to your religion. But just know that your spirit can interact with the God force of goodness and kindness and love in the world. God doesn't hate you. Whatever your concept of God is or is not, so you can reject the whole S if you just want to go, oh, I don't like that. Okay, just be spade then for your trigger guide. But if you have a sense of spirit that you want to reconcile all of this with, just know that there's no God worth following that would have somebody raped to make a person exist. So this whole every child of rape is a blessing. It's like if you choose to bring that child in the world, that is your choice. And every life that someone decides to nurture can be a blessing. And yes, but that does not mean that you should stop someone. It doesn't mean that you have the right to blame all these things that happen that change the trajectory of a woman's life. One sexual encounter and a pregnancy, and daddy's got them marrying someone they really don't want to marry when they're too young and whatever. And then they accept this, and then it's all part of their martyrdom. And then we have a bunch of conservatives that are all martyrs and I think they're really righteous for it. And man, I could get into that, and I will on Sunday, because Sunday is Sunday school where we do a deeper dive. But for the sake of time, I'm going to get off here now. It's very nice to talk with you about body memory tonight. And I just want those who do not have PTSD or CPTSD. Again, that means complex. And the people I work with generally, we are complex because we experienced a long-term violation and trauma that literally changed our physiology. So it's a whole different ballgame. And guess what? We're going to talk a lot. So join my Wednesday Zooms. There's an appointment calendar if you want one-on-one coaching. I like took someone's advice and put $49.99 up there, but I'm going to change that to $29.99. And I do have to charge because the software and stuff does cost me, and because I am going full-time with coaching. I'm a COVID long hauler, so working from home works well for me. I go in tomorrow to the GI person because I seem to have developed like Crohn's disease ever since I had COVID. So we're 7 months into that. My heart evidently has a little arrhythmia, having some problems there, so I have a cardiologist appointment next week. I've already had 2 CAT scans, and now I'm having, or 3 actually, because one was a brain one, because everything vibrates, so I only sleep like 1 to 3 hours at a time, which may be obvious. But it's given me a lot of time to work on the business, to grow this coaching business to where I'm actually helping people and keeping a roof over our head too, because that pandemic unemployment's going to run out pretty soon. I've been working very hard to build, because the women artisans that we buy from and sell to you from count on us. So I just said all along, all that matters is I pulled this business through this pandemic. So thank you. I appreciate your support at sweetsurvivor.com. We'll be adding merchandise in soon. We're just doing some logo changes, additions. And there's a subscription, and the book excerpts are going to be on that page pretty soon too. So it's all in the building phase. Sweetsurvivor.com. My store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, is also the same place right now because I'm introducing Sweet Survivor through feelgoodfairtrade.com. Sorry if that sounds complicated, but it will all be clear soon. Good night. Take care. I will talk to you tomorrow. Our Wednesday 2 o'clock Zooms don't start till next week because I needed time to sign people up. So go to the appointment calendar or message me or whatever you want to do. I have a phone. on there too.